Dr. Kirk, would you be kind enough to give us our invocation?
Yes. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this time we can get together and go about the work of this community, Lord. I pray that you guide us and lead us as we go through this process and be with us through this day and help us to be a light for you each day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
If you guys would you stand and join us from the pledges? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag? Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. If we can, and by request of our legal counsel, the next item 3 comes under consent agenda. But if we can, I'd like to get a motion to remove both items 3 and 4 from the consent agenda, and let us take those one at a time.
Yes, you're gonna, you get a motion to suspend the rules, and then you're gonna take off, take them one at a time.
So moved.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. May I have a second?
Second.
Have a second for Mr. Robinson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Rules are now suspended. So now, let's go ahead and take item 3. And if we could, has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes from May the 18th?
Yeah, I have one question on the part where we were looking at the financial report. I don't know what page that is. Page 3, the second paragraph on page 3. It's literally a question. It says miscellaneous income was a refund from the chamber for the contracted services of $304,000. And it kind of reads like that the refund was $304,000, but I don't think that's correct. I think, so if we could just clarify what that was.
Renee,
I
could you
think that was
clarify
correct.
for us?
I think it
since-
was 304.
Yep, it was, and I'll just go to the, sorry.
Please, come on down.
So our contract requires, after our audit is completed, that we return any unused funds. That was a very large sum of money, but the original $120,000 was from the contract with the company out of Fort Worth that we had in the budget in the very beginning. And the first month, you all said, we want to completely do away with that contract. It was on the Permian Fuels America. I
Okay.
can't remember the name of it. That was the biggest chunk of that.
Okay, but the $304,188 was indeed a refund?
Yeah, it was, yes.
Okay.
The balance of the
Okay.
amount contracted that we did not
returned.
spend. Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
thanks.
Yeah, there's
So it's
also, there's also another couple typos, I think, that we need to, in that same paragraph, it says the actual date revenues, I think that's supposed to say year-to-date. Second line there.
Yes.
I think that's supposed to say year-to-date, and then also, down in that next one where the very last, in the, skip a paragraph in the next one, ODC committee, I think it was supposed to say there was nothing pending in downtown Odessa, and it says anything,
Oh, yes.
yeah, okay.
Any other suggested changes? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Russell.
Second.
Second from Ms. Holman. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Item number 4, discuss and consider the Odessa Development Corporation Annual Budget Calendar for fiscal year 2023 to 2024, and the ODC request for proposals for fiscal year 2023 to 2024. Have you guys had a chance to review that as I'm trying to get it pulled up?
That was further down in the packet, wasn't it?
I don't think it was.
My
It's
internet's
on
like
page 35 of the packet.
Page 35. Well, my
Yep.
internet seems to be just kind of doing its own thing here. Oops. Come on, load in.
34, 35, there we go. Okay, so today, discuss the calendar, review and approve. And then we'll send out letters to everyone starting tomorrow. And then we'll review the general development plan and discuss the contract form on the July 13th meeting. You guys see any problems with any of these dates?
Well, I guess I would like clarification, because the July 13th meeting, we were talking about having a sales tax workshop. And I would think that review and discuss the development plan is probably not going to be simple. I would think that would, I mean, that's typically one of the more important things that we do. I mean, are we going to have time to do both, is my question.
We're gonna start that tax incentive thing in the morning.
Well, I think Carlton is confirmed for that afternoon, so, yeah.
How,
probably earlier.
how long will that be? Do you know? Do we know? Any idea?
Actually, he told us he's gonna block out the whole afternoon, but some of that's gonna be for you guys to do. Carlton told Tom that he could do that in about 2.5 hours, max. So,
Sure, you're right, it cramps the afternoon.
I mean, I guess we could, if we decided today that we could have pretty much this general development plan review and discussion as the only other item, we could probably make it work. I don't know that there's anything else that's gonna be pressing on the July 13th agenda.
Without Seth here, we're gonna be doing 2 months of financials on July, because he's not here today, so we don't have the May financials. We'll have May and June next month.
Do we need to have a special meeting for the purpose of the general development plan?
We may.
I'm
Looks like it.
certainly open for it. So, do you wanna do it before or after the July 13th meeting?
Would it compromise our calendar if we moved that July 13th regular meeting back a week? I guess may be my question. And then,
Move it into August?
well, actually,
We're out to the
You were thinking
20th.
about the 6th?
go ahead and have the July 13th meeting for sales tax, and then the next week.
The next week.
The 20th?
The 20th?
Yeah, and does that give the staff time enough? I would think so,
Yeah, you're giving them another week.
because we're only really talking about that one item, the general development plan, just to make sure.
It should be.
I think that might be a solution.
Does that work for legal?
May I come up?
No, but it didn't hurt to ask, of course. Yes, ma'am, come on up.
Please.
Please do.
Seth asked me to kind of go over this, to see if you had any questions.
Thank you, Tim.
The concerns that we have with the date for sending out the letter, we have them having their proposals back to us by the 31st. The budget has to be approved by the board 30 days before the new fiscal year begins. So by August 31st, it has to be done. So I was going to suggest possibly like a budget workshop type meeting where we could look at all the proposals, the general development plan, the budget, all that good stuff. It would make sense to have it after the proposals come in. They are a part of the general development plan. We don't have to give them to the 31st. That gives them 6 weeks. We certainly could. It's just so we've given them as little as 2 weeks and as much as 2 months. So whatever works with the calendar, we can just have them have those back and then maybe do a workshop. Everything has to be approved before August 31st. So a special meeting either sometime in July or sometime in August to get all that accomplished.
So you have an August 3rd meeting.
Yeah, he has a tentative August 3rd. He's got it as the meeting. I don't know that he realized the actual meeting was the 10th, but yeah, somewhere the last 2 weeks of July or even later in August. We can push it to like 2 weeks after the regular 10th meeting. As long as it's after we get the proposals and before the end of August.
Will the August 3rd be after we get the proposal?
It will, and we can give them all the way till July 31st, and yes, they'll get them in time, and we can get them to you before the August 3rd meeting, absolutely, if you wanted to use that schedule.
So maybe would this work if we had the July 13th meeting to review financials and really pretty much nothing else, and then do the sales tax with that? And then do the general development plan review and discussion on August the 3rd?
Along with the proposals. So,
It's gonna be a lengthy meeting probably.
But it's a special meeting anyway.
And
Or
when-
actually-
when would the letters go out to the,
so the letters can go out tomorrow. Once I get approval from you and all the specifics, Seth is prepared to send those out tomorrow. And they are a part of this packet to be approved today.
Then they would have to the 31st to get everything back.
31st of July. So that does give them 6 weeks, which is, I think, a fair amount of time. And then that could get them back to you to review and discuss on the 3rd. And of course, we would want them here to present their proposals to you on the 3rd.
I think he's got
if
it
you
wrong
wanted
here. I
them.
think, I think he was really wanting the ODC special meeting on the 3rd and the regular ODC meeting on the
I
10th.
think
Sure.
that's where
I think he just typoed that. Does that work for y'all?
I think it sounds reasonable.
should be fine.
So we're still talking about the July 13th meeting. We'll have that workshop. It'll be most of the afternoon and then have a short
Yeah, regular
July
meeting.
13th or regular meeting.
It shouldn't be long. So we'll have 2 months of financials, but I think Seth will get through it pretty quick.
Okay. It'll be like an afternoon probably, like we're doing today. Okay. Not
Okay.
really. We had an advertising meeting earlier, sorry.
Sure did. That work for you guys? Okay, so then let's get a motion to approve the amended budget calendar as we've discussed, which would be, of course, on July the 13th, we'll have the sales tax workshop and then our regular meeting. And then on August the 3rd, we'll have a special meeting and do the
General development plan.
general development. Yep. And then we'll go into our regular meeting on the 10th and can do the other. Is that okay?
I'm so moved.
Have a motion from Mr. Boutin,
Second.
second from Dr. Kurt. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Does that work?
Yes. I have a couple questions on the letter, the
Okay.
second part, and this is the request for proposals letters. It says in the calendar that legal would send them out. Legal traditionally did, but everything's been kind of shifting to finance. Does the board want finance to send those out? Meaning Seth, and he's prepared to do that, or I can still do that?
I would leave that up to y'all's discretion between legal and financial, who'd rather do it. Yeah, but I don't really care.
Okay,
As long as they go out.
it'll go out.
Who wants to take the responsibility?
It'll go out for sure.
Okay.
Probably Seth will be doing it.
Okay. We'll let financials do it then.
Seth's wanting to do it, so.
Yeah, I have a list here of our usual contractors. You'll see that the Hispanic Chamber is still in there. They did get a letter last year. I know we didn't have a contract. Can you review that list and just let me know that you still want all those people getting it? And if you have additional people that you want the letter to go to?
I don't see any reason to send one to the Hispanic Chamber.
Okay.
I don't think they're in a position to, that's a waste of time.
Okay.
Looks like to me.
I would agree.
Is everybody else good?
Yeah.
And is there anyone you wanted to add?
I wanted to add one thing, or propose adding one thing in that sentence where it says specifically the ODC is seeking innovative ideas and proposals for attracting new jobs, promoting business expansion, bolstering business retention efforts, and I would like to say, in developing our local workforce.
Okay, and what paragraph? Are you in that?
Below the first set of bullets,
Okay, so
so at the end of that.
specifically, I see
yeah,
that,
first
okay.
one.
And then add
In
and,
developing our local workforce.
Workforce development's become pretty key.
Yeah.
okay, I've got that in
I would
there.
also like to just ask a question of, and maybe our, the city's PIO can help us or something, but, how do we, other than just sending it out to the usual companies that we do, if they can maybe help us publicize that we're looking for these things, and there might be somebody new that might pop up with some new ideas or something,
Sure.
just to get it out there and publicize it, maybe.
Did you want us to loop Monica in?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I would
Okay.
request, that maybe Monica could help us just get the word out there. And I don't know that it will yield anything, but it, you never know.
Okay. That's all I have.
So-
Letter's good. Dan, I'll get with Monica and
Yeah.
we good?
First of all, everybody good with the change that Mr. Russell proposed? Okay, excellent.
So you're gonna make a motion to approve that from the letter?
I move that we send out the letter as revised.
Okay.
Second.
Motion from Ms. Holman.
Second.
Second from Dr. Kirk. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you want Monica McDaniel to do whatever?
Yeah, she could maybe work with us and,
Lean.
and, yeah,
All right, I'll
let people know we're looking for.
we'll do.
Okay. This is an open meeting, therefore any member of the public may address the ODC board regarding any of its agenda items before or during the consideration of any item. Therefore, if you'd like to speak, if you could just raise your hand or signal, we'll be happy to recognize you. This takes us to item 5, regular agenda contractors reports. Do you want to give a report by chance, Ms. Tracy?
Yes, I have one ready.
I'm just so excited. Mr. Mansky is out of town, so
It's going to be very short and sweet, but I have one.
thank you.
Okay,
Tracy.
and as we were discussing, the sales tax training did get for sure confirmed this morning for the July 13th afternoon, that Thursday, July 13th afternoon meeting. Carlton confirmed that this morning.
What time is that gonna start?
Probably about 1.
Okay.
We figure we need to at least give a few hours for him and then anything, or vice versa, however y'all want to set that up, whether or not you want to do like a really quick, brief meeting first and then go into the sales tax. We'll just, I guess, discuss
Well,
that.
yeah, that's the question, is normally we meet
Yeah.
at 2, so do you, how do we, do
Right.
you wanna interrupt his training to have our meeting, or how do you wanna handle that? Or do you wanna work it around it?
Why don't we do our meeting
Do the meeting first,
and then just
yeah.
immediately roll into
I
that?
think so. I think that would be better.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
the secretary said meeting first.
Yes, I
Well,
heard her say that.
She's gonna throw something in.
That's what I
so
said.
if Miss Norma E.F. Hutton says that we by golly ought to listen, so does that mean we'll set the ODC meeting for the 13th at 1 o'clock?
If we could. Mhm.
Is that okay? And then we'll follow with the sales tax training immediately after? Is that good?
Okay,
Excellent.
good.
I like it.
I'll let Tom know that. Okay, so you've got your activity report in your packet, but I'm just gonna do a couple of quick little updates. We do have those couple of new projects that he put on there, the Swiss Select and, let's see, Clean Neighbor and Project Brine, that all came from the Select USA trade show that he went to in Washington last month. They're all very preliminary. We don't have, CapEx amounts or job numbers or anything like that. They're just very early discussions that we hope lead into something. Project Freedom is a new project that we had just begun working. It's already gone to compliance. And Kaylee Band is here to fill in for Peggy today, who is ill, and so she's going to give you more information about that one. Project Brine is it's a company that's going to clean production water. They're going to recycle it, and it's a new process. They're going to set up a pilot program, and it's going to be a couple of years in the making on this one too. And then they'll have investors that are looking at this, and if it works well, they'll have investors, and we'll move forward with that. But they have to do a pilot thing first. Project Air is also a new project that we had started working. It's an expansion project for a local company here, and compliance met on that last week, and also are going to make a recommendation today for a grant. Sergio was the battery electric storage thing. It's still out there. We're still working it. It's not a big job creator. I think it's only going to be 1 or 2 jobs, but it's got, about $180 million capital investment. still going through that process with the taxing entities. Project Flow, it's the standard industrial manufacturing. You guys approved that last month. We're still waiting on an economic development agreement. And as soon as we get that, we'll get that forwarded over to the company and let them start the process of seeing where that needs to go with the agreement. Project Legion is also one that we've, discussed several times, and we continue to work with that one through the taxing entities. And Project Frost I believe is on the agenda also. That's the GCC to look at finalizing their economic development agreement also. And then also Project Fuse, which is Border State, is also on there for final approval to approve the resolution for their contract. We're working on BRE visits. Those are really slow. They always get slower this time of year anyways, just because of vacation, but it's just, we're trying to get that revitalized, and it's a really slow process, but Christie's got some things to discuss with you on that. Odessa Partnership scheduled to meet next week, I believe it is, week after next. Anyways, they're meeting this month. We'll send out another notice on that, a reminder of that one. Let's see if there's anything on here. Other than that Tom had attended the Select USA Summit in Washington last month. We attended a High Ground, had a site selectors event in Midland. The Midland Chamber or Midland ODC hosted, and there were like 8 different site selectors that came in for that. So that was a really good event. We get to do kind of one-offs with these people, so we give them information on Odessa. We are hosting here in Odessa, the Team Texas has one of these site selector summits also in August. So we're in the process of planning that with Discover Odessa. They put in a proposal for that, and we won it this year. So we're excited about that. We'll probably have about the same number, about 8 site selectors. So you guys will probably get an invitation to some events to help welcome them to Odessa. And that's all we have, unless you have some questions.
Great, thank you, Tracy. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, so just out of curiosity, because I know that Peggy couldn't be here, but I know Kaylee's here. How are you doing on time? I know she needs to be out of here by,
Just by 3:45, 3:50.
okay.
Yeah.
Chris, did you want to give a presentation today?
I'll give Katie my time.
Okay, not a problem. I'm just trying to kind of look here. And then Christy, were you going to give us an update?
The advertising committee wanted me to give you just a very brief overview, super quick.
Come on, we'll do that, and then we'll go right into Ms. Band if that's okay. I think we can still get you out of here by 2:45. 3:45, excuse me.
We just have a couple of show and tell things real quick. And
Excellent.
let's see. All right. Advertising committee met just right before this, just to kind of show a few things that are finally kind of coming to fruition that we've been working on for the past couple of months. So I'm just going to hit the high points of that right now. One of the big things that we talked about was the revitalized BRE. I've met with the economic development team a couple of times this month, trying to talk about what we can do to kind of give it a shot in the arm. Some of the things, give them some more tools that they can be using, and just some things to let the community know more about what's available. And one of the big things that came out of that too today is talking more about workforce as well, and what we can do to really to affect that with some of the workforce concerns that we have here locally. So we're kind of working through that. That's going to be coming. But I wanted to show you just a few things that have almost finished. Just a list of the current projects. The website is on time. We will soft launch this weekend. I will get that link. I will go through it carefully just to see make sure that everything has been done. Then I'll share that with the economic development staff before I share it with the advertising committee. So it's almost here, and we will have that tool, and that's what we've kind of been waiting on for all of our media. The video, we have the first web banner that is ready for the website that I've sent to them, so that's coming, and they are working on the other videos still. A lot of animation involved in that, so it's a process. We've been on the phone about once a week for the last month with them, just giving them everything that they need to finish that up. A few community ads that you'll be seeing. These are ads that, ODC's been a part of for a long time, including the Odessa app, that we're sending new graphics so that it will have the Only Odessa look. The Revitalized BRA campaign, I'll just touch quickly on that and show you a few of the tactics that we're talking about. And we're looking at a testimonial campaign as well. Few reasons for that, so that we can talk to our local businesses, show them business owners who have received either consultation or grants from ODC, just so that people can kind of it becomes real when they're seeing that. So most of the testimonials that you will see will be more on the business retention expansion side, but we're also talking about doing that as we move into this external media buy that we're about to do, where we're going to the site selectors. I'm going to learn more about the event in August. We're going to talk more about how we spend those dollars that we have in the budget. So one thing that came up, Jeff and Jay were talking about this in the meeting, we may look at even focusing on one target industry for the rest of this fiscal year, rather than trying to go to 4 or 5. We may pool those dollars and really go after one really hard. So I owe them some things back as a result of that meeting today, with some budgets and numbers attached to those, and we'll report on that next month as well. The community flip book, Tracy has got a lot of the books that were printed several years ago that are really still up to date. They're expensive to print those, they're beautiful, but we're gonna do that in a digital format. So we have some new photography that we've recently gotten as a result of the video, and then the High Ground of Texas also has some photography that they did of Odessa that we didn't have to pay for. So we've got some new things that we could show there. And then we've spent some time developing things just for consistency. PowerPoint templates, letterhead templates, email signatures, just so that every communication is consistent. We touched a little bit on the Revitalized BRE tactics. We are looking at doing a landing page. The website company that we use, they will do a landing page at no additional cost, where any advertising that we do can track back to that page so that I can tell what tactics we're using or working and which ones aren't. So we'll use it for that. We are looking at other ways to highlight our businesses here. And again, we're going to work in the workforce element into this. So I need to add some of that in after our discussions today. Working on a very simple leave behind flyer. Tracy's got a packet, but she really needs something very, very simple to take with her that's just an at a glance. So we are working on that. And then once we kind of have this all wrapped up where we know exactly where we're going with that, we're going to talk to our local media too about sharing that, helping us get that word out more. Well, there will be a digital campaign, a social campaign, and we're looking at starting a blog that I mentioned last month. With BRE, just sharing very, very, very preliminarily, we are looking at calling it something. And as we've gone back and forth, with Only Odessa, the 2 O's that you see stand for Only Odessa. We'll play off that in the graphics. But Odessa Works, always working for you is kind of where we landed on this on the top one. Just to let them know that their community is working for them, and especially in the local business realm. And of course, we'll back that up with everything that they can do for them. See if I can, not sure if I can, oh, there we go. Okay, so this is a very preliminary look at the website, just so you can kind of see what you're gonna be looking at. The top photo is a placeholder. The video that I mentioned is gonna go there. So what we're gonna do is change up that video often. Right now, we're showing I-20 traffic. We're showing at least one of the hospitals, at least one of the universities, a little bit of quality of life. So there'll be about 5 scenes that will change out probably quarterly, just to keep that fresh. Map is front and center, just so that people know where we are. So big star with Odessa in the middle, and then showing how we connect. A lot of what you'll see on the video is going to talk about our connections, and with the help of Mr. Beecham and some of his facts, we've added those in as well, just to talk about how well connected we are. And again, all preliminary, but this will just kind of give you an idea of the look, the focus on the target industries. We have a real estate feature that's going in here. This Choose Odessa, this particular one will change too. This happens to focus on downtown and just some nice nightlife. They're updating those stats and everything that will be in the real one. But just wanted you to kind of see what it's looking like on that one. And then we've got a couple of ads that we're working on as well for local business retention, community guides, things that we just kind of have some stock ads available when things come up. And a big media buy that we're working on right now to bring next time. And I think that's about it. Sorry, kind of flew through that.
Excellent. Questions for Christie?
Okay,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Thank you for the presentation.
I had a question. Describe your leave behind flyer.
Okay, well, when I have it, we're working on it.
Okay.
What I think we're going to do, it's going to be an 8.5 by 11, either front and back, or we may do a trifold where it's more like a brochure. It is just going to have bullet points, resources, contacts for Tracy, Tom, Lindsay and Kathy, if there's anything that they need from the economic development team. And then really the types of projects that can be supported by you guys. Just so that people know what they might be able to get money for. We're also going to put in there a little bit about the workforce training that is available to them. Little bit on the one sheet, more in the testimonials, but we'll talk to OC and the Permian Basin Workforce Board and things like that, just so that we can try to address different issues with that, but more to let them know what they can get from this board if they want to expand.
Right.
In Odessa.
It's one page.
Yes, something simple. Like I said, I mean, she's got a packet, but she said what she really needs so that they're not having to read a whole packet.
Yeah.
This is it at a glance. And then call
Yeah.
when they need more.
Good
So did that
information.
answer your question?
Yes.
So, okay.
Thank you.
All right. That's it. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Since we're currently working under suspended rules and in an effort to try to speed things along for Ms. Banda and Compliance Committee, if it's okay, I'd like to get a motion to move items 8 and 9 up in front of item 6. Would that be okay?
8, 9, and 10.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize Cage was going to fall into that too. Okay, 8, 9, and 10. Thank you.
I'd make that motion.
Okay, motion from Mr. Russell.
Second.
Second from Dr. Kurt. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we're on item 8. Ms. Banda, come on up. Discuss and consider a grant application for Project AIR.
Alrighty. So yes, my name is Kaylee Banda, if I have not had the pleasure of meeting you. I'm here today to present 3 different things, the first one being Project AIR. Committee met and reviewed this grant application and the financials. So this company rebuilds components for natural gas compressors, and they service vapor recovery units and instrument air compressors. They have outgrown their current facility, and that was evidenced in their financials. We could see quite a bit of growth happening, healthy growth, I might add. So they have come asking for a grant. The number of retained full-time equivalent jobs was 20. The amount they were going to be adding was 15 for a total of 35. Total new payroll added, 1.3 million. The capital investment amount is $2,270,000, and they are looking at a property off of South JBS Parkway. Based on the calculations, the capital investment and the full-time equivalent jobs, the total recommendation that the committee is putting forth is $942,459.60 to be paid out in 5 payments of $188,491.92. And like I mentioned, we did review these financials. In 2022 alone, they had a huge growth spurt. I believe the revenue jump was like 280%, which is phenomenal. But you can see in their balance sheet numbers that they didn't leverage themselves up to achieve that growth, which implies healthy cash flow management practices. So we were very impressed by that. I haven't met the gentleman, but Tracy and the team met him, and they said he's young and energetic and really looking to grow and expand his business. Any questions on that one?
Can you tell me the total grant request again, 942,000?
$942,459.60, which is that the 60% category.
When you guys ran this in the matrix, because we've got another one like we had on one of the last grants where we got a ramped up employment picture, did we take that into account with the new?
Yes, yes, we did do the additional jobs over a 3-year period.
Okay.
Any other questions?
It's a really strong-looking company. They're really doing a good job. And wish there was a lot of them come in like that.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion from Mr. Boutan, have a second from Dr. Kurt. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Takes us to item 9, discuss and consider a grant application for Project Liberty.
Great. So this one is actually Project Freedom. This company is a leading North American oilfield service company. I believe they're headquartered out of Denver, Colorado. They offer a variety of completion services and technology to onshore production companies. They are currently housing their Permian Basin operations out of Midland. They're a large company, and they're looking to relocate that to Odessa. So it's a very large project. The recommendation that we're recommending does not come close to anything that they could qualify for, which it's a good conservative thing. So the total number of full-time equivalents will be 1,456, which is very significant. And the new payroll, $103,051,904. They are looking to move to the Lico Industrial Park area. And the dollar amount of the capital investment will be $34 million. So based on the calculations, which again, we came nowhere near the total grant they were eligible for. They were eligible for a little over 31 million, which is huge, but we are recommending a $2.5 million grant to be paid out over 5 payments of $500,000. They, like I said, they're moving from Midland, so we believe that approval of this project will create goodwill. It'll allow us to demonstrate a welcoming attitude, and that goodwill could be very beneficial for potential opportunities in the future for their growth.
When you looked at just the capital improvement side of the 34 million, what would that grant have been if there were no FTEs being moved? What would just the $34 million real estate investment?
$652,800 at the 60% level. But obviously
Is this in the industrial district?
it's in the Lico Industrial Park, yeah. Yes.
Lico is actually in the city limits.
Okay.
Any other questions on
They
this one?
would be moving their Midland offices over here, correct?
Yes, yes.
Are they moving other offices
It's
as well?
The entire Permian.
Yeah, they're building a big office structure.
This is Liberty Energy. Excellent.
How many, I'm just kind of curious here, how many of the 1,450 some employees, how many of those are currently in the Midland, Odessa area versus being in other, whether it's New Mexico or wherever they might be?
We did not get that. Tom might have, when he talked to him, know that percentage, but I cannot tell you that. I'm sorry. We find that out.
Well, the reason I asked that was, my guess is that of the four, and I don't think that the grant is excessive based upon what they're looking at doing, but my guess is a lot of those 1,450 employees, if they're in Midland, Odessa anyway, there's gonna be no net shift of employees. If you lived in Midland, you're still gonna live in Midland. If you lived in Odessa, you're still gonna live in Odessa. But I was curious as to what we might be drawing in from, outlying areas that may end up being in Odessa.
That's a good question.
Well, even if they don't move here, they'll buy gas here, they'll buy lunch here, they're gonna spend.
Sure,
money.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion from Mr. Boutan, have a second from Ms. Holman.
Second.
Have Also a second from
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Robinson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 10, discuss and consider resolution authorizing Odessa Development Corporation payment to Cage Equipment.
Okay, so lastly, Cage Equipment LLC, you have approved this already in the past. The date of the agreement was December of 2020, so 2 payments have already been made to Cage Equipment. The committee reviewed the audit, the latest audit obtained, and the date of the audit was for period ending April 2022. So the compliance we were assessing was from essentially April of 21 to April of 22, even though we are in June of 23. So there was some discussion on the timing of the audit, but it was determined that there were some issues along the way of, we don't know where the hiccups were, but moving forward, I believe the process is going to be ironed out, so those audits will be obtained and reviewed on a more timely basis. But regardless of that, they were in compliance for this last period. Let me see here. The total required jobs is 22 per the agreement, and they had 33 full-time equivalents. And let me see, the required payroll was $1,090,520 per the agreement, and they had $1,804,249. So they met on both of those metrics. The committee did discuss going ahead and paying out the third payment. I'm sorry, the second payment. I apologize. We've only done one payment. This will be the second.
We're just a year behind.
Yes, we're a year behind. So just a heads up, moving forward, because there was a delay in the audit process up till this point, there might be an issue of timing when it comes to the last payment compared to the date that the EDA expires. So in the future, if we cannot get caught up, quote unquote, on the audits and pay it out within that 5-year period, then you guys might have to consider a revision of that expiration or maturity date of the contract. So, like I said, I believe the conversations have already been had to iron out the process to maybe avoid that, but that is to be determined.
And Mr. Chairman, Tina and I went over this morning. She has detailed notes. It was partly Weaver's fault, partly the company's fault, so there was plenty of blame to go around, so.
Okay.
That's why we're running a year behind.
Well, one of the reasons this one came back to you was there was an exception in the audit findings in that there were some discrepancies in their 941s. And did you guys talk about that at all?
Yeah, it was the timeline. It was, one of them is quarterly. It's just the quarterly report that they turn into the Texas Workforce Commission, and then the timeline that they're requested, the other information don't match up. They're not quarterly reports, and so we need to try to get on a schedule like that where, you know, even if it's a month before or a month after what their date is on their agreement, it needs to be based quarterly, so that way all the paperwork matches.
I mean, it looks like we were well in excess of total wages based on what they did turn in. But it's just that discrepancy in the first quarter, I believe. I want to see, was there a real concern there with them not being able to verify the numbers for that?
Yeah, no, the notes that we saw, there didn't seem to be any major issue. So.
Okay.
I had noticed on the last 2 or 3 Weaver reports that they stated there were discrepancy. I mean, there were like 3 in a row, so they didn't want to particularly go there. They felt like they had enough, I believe, so, and I felt the same way too.
Well, I think we've moved forward.
And honestly, there's a lot of those questions that Tom and myself, or legal could even answer. We needed, because we're not involved in the process, so we really needed either someone from finance to be there to answer some of those questions or be involved more in the process, which we're thinking we're supposed to be a little more involved in the process.
You know, that was one of the things we talked to Whitley Penn about, was involving you guys in the process and these
So that way
audits
we
moving
can
forward.
answer these questions, because it's like, we answer them the best we can, and
Okay.
sometimes it's probably not well enough.
We need action today, or?
Yes, sir. Questions anymore for Ms. Banda? Okay.
Move to approve.
Have a motion from Dr. Kirk to approve the payment to Cage Equipment.
Second.
Second from Mr. Russell. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so with 8, 9, and 10 checked off, let's jump back to item 6, if that's okay, which is our ODC committee and officer reports. I believe somebody mentioned that a partnership meeting is scheduled for next week. Is that right, Tracy? Do we have a date for that yet?
Sorry, it's
2 weeks, 29th. And do we have a time?
11:45.
Thank you.
It's lunch meeting.
Yay.
Yeah, 11:45. Kathy will send out another reminder on that and ask for agenda items if anybody, the attendees have any specific agenda items that they want to have.
Will we be reaching out to the other entities personally to make sure that,
Yes,
really try to encourage them to be there?
to be there, yes. That's why we sent it out so early, to try to make sure they got it on their calendar early enough
Follow up.
that it wasn't on the last minute thing.
I have a question about the agenda. Jeff brought up last meeting, some type of collaborative, data mining effort, so that we're all looking at utilizing the same equipment. I would encourage that agenda item to be on there.
And it is going to be.
And I would also, in order to do what, what Jeff is suggesting, let's encourage everybody to be there. Get them a copy of the agenda when you send out the invitation, so that they know what's gonna be discussed about it.
Right.
And make it clear enough that, because I think all of the taxing entities would look forward to some kind of collaborative effort in that regard.
Well, and
So
it
maybe
just,
that'll
yeah.
draw at least some participation.
Well, and that was kind of what, like Jeff said, just to make it more cohesive, because we've got people getting
Well, it-
data from several different locations, and sometimes it doesn't match up.
And it'd be nice to ask these guys, even when they come, if they could bring a little bit of a summary of what kind of data that they collect and what they have information to and what services they subscribe to. And so we could kind of, share that around the table and see how much overlap we've got.
We can include that in the email invitation. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. Did tax incentive meet?
We won't meet till next year.
Yeah.
Okay. We've had our advertising meeting update. Did you guys have anything you wanted to?
Christie pretty much covered all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Downtown Odessa grants.
No meetings in
No
the,
activity that I'm aware of.
none in the last 2 months. I think there's some discussion about, coming up on Pedio Cardio. That was off the agenda a couple of months ago, I think.
Yeah, that'll come up after this here in just a second. Okay. Compliance, we had our update from Ms. Bandis, so we're good there. How about our legal services committee? I think we can just take that off
Yeah,
the agenda
I mean, I
moving
think
forward.
we-
I think you guys did a great job there, so that's, one little update there. I did ask that on the, current contracts that we have pending, that we go ahead and get those over to Jeff Moore and have him draw those up. No time like the present to get those started. So, hope that's okay.
Yeah.
But I didn't overstep my
I
bounds there.
think that was the intent.
Yes, sir. So, okay, excellent. That takes us to item 7, discuss and consider an amendment to downtown infrastructure improvement grant with Petty Cardio. Ms. Prieto, come on down.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I don't know if I was here last time. I was very, very new, so I'd like to introduce myself. Elizabeth Prieto, I'm with Downtown Odessa. And as far as no activity, I had one turned in this week, so we will submit that one. And as of yesterday, they told me that there's 4 possible facade. Those aren't turned in yet, but I will be reaching out to y'all to set up an appointment for one that is an infrastructure and a facade.
Pretty good.
So it looks like we're picking up again. As far as this one here, we are asking for a 6-month extension. I'm sorry, he wasn't able to come because of work. But speaking with him when I first started in February, he was a little discouraged. He was having trouble with material. I think we were coming out of COVID, a little bit of delays. And then all of a sudden it started picking up again, and he got really excited, and he says, I'm going to be able to do this by the end of my 6 months. But then he ran into a little bit more trouble, like his plumber passed away. So he's at the point where he has to start over with a new plumber, and then the AC, and then the tile needs to go in. So he's fairly confident that he will be able to finish everything in the next 6 months.
This is the old Nurses Unlimited building.
The old Nurses Unlimited, yes.
I see them working over there all the time.
They're working all the time now, yes.
Even when they decided that they maybe weren't gonna take the grant, they were still working
Oh,
through
yeah,
it. They
yeah.
never let up.
Yeah, when he was thinking about not, he just thought that he wasn't gonna meet the deadline, so he was a little discouraged the first time I talked to him. And every time I talk to him now, he's like, oh, it's going great, it's going great. And then last week or 2 weeks ago, it was my plumber passed away. So he's had a little bit of hiccups, but it looks like it's going, and he's really excited and about
So
it.
he's just asking for 6 months.
For 6
extension
months,
to-
yes.
To finish up.
Yes, that is
Move
correct.
for approval of the 6-month extension.
Second?
I have a motion from Mr. Boutin, second from Dr. Kurt. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Prieta. Okay. Item 11, discuss and consider a resolution authorizing the Odessa Development Corporation to enter into an economic development agreement with GCC. Mr. Jones, is this one yours?
Well, I've got, of course, we got the resolution here. This is, with GCC Permian. Let's see here, and of course, this is, oh goodness, let's see, this is the contract that we have. Yeah, this is it.
And this is one of the contracts that we're gonna have Mr. Moore draw up.
That is, yeah, I believe, no, this is one that I think Tina drew up.
Oh, come on down.
So,
No, this is the contract that I drew up.
Okay,
This is
excellent.
one that y'all wanted to add the language.
Yes.
yeah,
And we were waiting for Mr. Moore to prepare that language. So that's exactly where we're at. And you'll find that on page
page 6.
6.
of 11.
It's the last section, up at the top, it's point 7. And this is the original language that Mr. Crowe had proposed, and you had discussed making some changes to that. And we were thinking Mr. Moore was going to be doing that. So I don't know if.
Do we have that in our packet? Because I'm a little lost
Yeah.
here.
Oh, you don't have the contract in your packet.
You want me to
Ooh.
pass it down?
Yeah,
Yours prepared for me, so.
sorry. Yeah, I had forgotten it wasn't in the packet.
So the changes I remember was for the, kind of. The
taxable value, yes.
Kind of stuff. So we got that all kind of worked out and incorporated in there?
We don't.
We do not.
We-
We're waiting on that language from
Correct, from Mr. Moore.
Mr. Moore. Okay.
Yes.
all
So
right.
this is just the ordinance.
Well, it's the resolution, so it
I'm sorry,
will.
the resolution.
No, it's okay. So this will just, it approves entering into this contract. And you can approve this, with that language, whatever the language. Has it, do you know, has it been sent to Mr. Moore for?
I'm not sure, do you know? I'd ask Tom, he was gonna
Okay.
reach out to
Jeff.
Jeff.
I could not say.
Okay,
All right, so we tabled this based on the revised,
Just to revise it.
correct.
okay.
And we don't know if Jeff has done it or not done it, and like I said, the only reason that we have what we have is Tina's.
So what you're asking from us is to confirm that we indeed want to contract with GCC. We have a good understanding of the language we want to use, and in order to, once that resolution is passed, you'll send it to Jeff. He'll draw up the contract, and then we'll approve the contract. Is that good
Yes.
synopsis?
Yes,
Okay, so move.
okay.
Okay, have a motion for the resolution?
Second.
Have a second from Mr. Robinson?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries for resolution for GCC.
Mr. Chairman, did you want us to liaison with Jeff Moore? How do you want us to do this? Because it's,
Yes.
tell us exactly what
I
you
think
want
that
to
would
do,
be the best, because you guys will know more of the terminology than economic development will, just as far as the wording and stuff goes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
please get with Jeff on that.
Okay, Tina and I will liaison with him, and then we'll keep y'all in the loop and everything. I
And
just,
same thing on the other contracts, just, we've kind of had the discussion of what, we're looking for. We just want to make sure the city and ODC is protected on our
And
contracts
that's what we
moving
want.
forward.
That's what
And
we
so
want.
if you guys could forward that, and I know you've already forwarded some of our contracts we've had in the past, to give them an
Yeah.
idea of what we've done. And
and we haven't heard back.
Yeah,
Okay.
we haven't heard anything back from him.
if you guys could follow up, that would be great.
Wants to have a conversation about what the conceptual intent is with this
Okay.
added language,
Yeah.
then,
we'll
we can
get.
get,
Yeah.
Chris, and I don't mind getting on the
Okay,
phone with him or
we can
whatever.
do that, but we'll be happy to liaison with you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, that takes us to item 12, discuss and consider a resolution authorizing ODC to enter into an economic development agreement with Border States Industries, which would be basically the same.
And on this one, at the last meeting, y'all just said get rid of all the blue. Red lines, I got rid of all the blue and we sent it back to them. Tracy, have you heard?
Yeah, well, they said that it was fine, they wanted a clean copy to sign.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and this is just approving the resolution again that
We're still waiting
allows.
for the contract to come back.
yeah.
Okay,
And I'll reach out to them and see what that's.
okay. Any other discussion?
And then you had a small brief amendment, right?
On the
language?
on the
On the
borders,
resolution, right? Seems like that's what you sent out, or,
I think that's,
I did.
yeah, and so, yeah.
Yes.
Because it talks about
The jobs.
equivalent, the jobs for the term of the
Yes.
agreement.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. So I changed it from being in the first year to throughout the term. They're
Okay.
gonna add a couple of jobs or one job every
For the
year for the
scaling.
5 years.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion from Mr. Boutin, second from Dr. Kurt. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Are these both ready to go to council? I normally prepare those agenda items. Are we in a
I would say, do we
position?
want to send it before we have the contracts back? That's
The
my question.
resolutions,
The contracts,
contracts aren't ready, right?
Right.
well, I have to get them on like 2 weeks ahead of time. So I can, the soonest we could get them on would be July 27th.
yeah.
Do you,
I would say get with Jeff Moore and see if we're gonna have the contracts back before July
Okay.
27th.
We'll do
Okay.
that. We'll
Just
do
personally,
well,
I'd
the
rather
Border
not send
States
it to
is ready.
council
Border
without-
States is
Without
done.
us eyeballing
Without
it.
us eyeballing the contracts,
that. Yeah, we'll do that.
unless you guys
Border States is
disagree.
ready.
Yeah, Border States is done.
It's
They're-
just the other.
Okay.
Okay.
So submit Border States and hold off on GCC.
Are y'all gonna wanna look at Jeff's work before we send it to council?
Since we haven't seen any work from him yet, I would say
I think
yes.
so. So that one won't go to council.
Okay, so council for the one, not the other.
And then we'll just plan on bringing it back to y'all whenever we get back from Jeff. We'll just do that. We'll do that next month.
Is that
And
okay?
if it can be
Okay. And you'll
included in the
present?
packet,
Yes, ma'am. That's
in your
fine.
Thank you.
deadline form,
Yeah.
so that we can,
Like I say, we'll liaison, we'll get that done,
Excellent.
because we want it to be smooth.
Excellent. Okay, at this point, the board may recess into executive session in compliance with section 551.001 of the Texas Government Code. So today, in accordance with section 551.087, we're going to recess into executive session for a short meeting regarding some economic development negotiations regarding Project Iron Man. So at this minute,
So move.
I'll take that motion from Mr. Boutin, a second from Mr. Russell. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we stand in recess for just a few minutes. Thank you. Ms. Jones, can you join us?